Everyone knows headlamps are very useful for looking for creepy things at night. Sometimes you need a completely hands-free experience to poke at things or swat at things. So Olight makes some headlamps called the H05 Active and the H05S Active. You know, that goinggear.com sells. Both of these headlamps are very similar, but with a few key differences. How they are the same is first, both have dual output white and red LED modes. The white LED is an XML2 cool white, and the reds are low output 3528 red LEDs, which I hear are good for astronomizing. Both headlamps are operated off two AAA size batteries, feature adjustable headbands made from whatever elastic crap all headbands are made from. They're constructed out of lightweight plastic and have adjustable angles of light. Both are operated exactly the same way for the most part and have the same amount of modes. Now the way they're different isn't a lot. The high mode is about 50 lumens higher on the H05S. The H05S has a hands-free wave operation that allows you to wave your hand in front of your face to turn on and off the light. And the H05S only comes in black, whereas the regular H05 comes in 4 colors that allow you to express yourself through 4 different colors. Too bad they don't come in rose gold. Okay, how about some basic dimensions and weight for the gram counters or measurement enthusiasts? I'll throw up both lights here so you can spot any differences. Cool. Okay, so let's go over the output modes. Both lights have 3 white output modes and 2 red output modes. I have Olight's figures for alkaline runtimes on screen and my estimated outputs. Here they are side by side. I know there's a lot of text up here. First is white on low, which I found are slightly different in brightness even though Olight says they're the same. Then we have white medium, which is slightly different in brightness too, which probably accounts for the difference in runtimes. Then is white high. This is where the brightness on the two differs by manufacturer specs. They say they're the same on the other 2 modes. The H05S is about 30 lumens brighter from my testing. Note both have step downs on high after about 10 minutes, and because the H05S runs brighter, the run times are shorter on high. Alright, so next is red. You get low output red mode. Using a red LED on either side, you'll notice the H05S is dimmer. That's partially due to the diffused optics over the red LEDs, which the H05S has, but the H05 doesn't. You know, the blue one doesn't have them, the black one does, which you can barely see here. And finally, red flashing mode, presumably because they have a few extra lines of code in the flashlight firmware, and someone suggested, hey, do we have a blinking mode yet? Again, I posted the alkaline runtimes. The lithium runtimes are longer, so check those out on Olight's website because it would be too much text on the screen. How do they operate? Nearly identically. I'll show you using the H05S because it has, slightly different features. Okay, how they're the same. You got red and white outputs. First, pop in the batteries. Actually, there's a hidden difference not listed anywhere. The H05S has a battery compartment where the positive terminal sides glow, so you can put the batteries in the right way when they're dark. Once they're in, it turns off. I have no idea how it works because it works without batteries in it. Again, this is not the regular H05, just the H05S. Okay, batteries are in. Close it. Press the button on top to get to white. First is high, and then single presses get it to medium, and then low and off. Remember, it's ordered high to low, not low to high like some other headlamps are. Now, to get to red, you need to be in white light mode in any of the modes. Okay, in white light, double-click at any time, and you're in red mode. Sometimes I found you get to red blinking. Sometimes it's red solid. Press it again. You get to blinking. Red solid comes first. Now to toggle between red and white modes, just double click in one to get to the other. But the light has to be on. And now for the main difference. From here on out, the regular H05 does not have any of these features. The H05S has infrared sensors, so you can wave your hand instead of hitting the switch to turn it on and off. It's like remote control for your headlamp without actually having a remote control in your hand. Okay, so there's no way to change modes with the hand wave, so you need to select one of the 3 white or 2 red LED modes you want, and then press and hold the button for more than 1 second in that mode. It blinks, and now it's hands-free. So just wave your hand anywhere from 5 to 20 centimeters in front of your face. Wave it once, it's on. Wave it again, it's off. Now after doing 10 cycles of this, it actually goes back to hand operation. You can't wave it. I'm not sure why. If you'd like to change modes during hand-free operation, you'll need to use your hand. So you can select a different mode if you're in one. Press once to get into lower modes and use it to disable hands-free at any time during regular operation while it's on. Just press and hold and wait for the blink. Alright, cool. How about runtime tests? Now, inside the package you get the headlamp, a band, and 2 batteries. Now I mention that because these batteries are lithium AAA batteries. They're not rechargeable. You get longer runtimes with these lithium primaries, but they're more expensive. Here are the H05 and H05S on high with eneloop AAA and lithium primaries. I did some magic here. They're labeled in case you're, not paying attention. You see that the initial step down Olight list in the specs is about 10 minutes on all the lights. It's a gradual step down that lasts a few minutes, so you might not notice it. The lithiums will offer longer runtimes than the eneloops, and the H05 will last longer than the H05S because its high mode is brighter than the standard H05. And as predicted, a little over 2 hours in, the H05S on eneloop is the first to go because it's the brightest and it's the lowest capacity battery. Then the H05 on an eneloop goes about 45 minutes later because lithiums offer that bigger energy storage, whatever. The H05S dies about an hour and a half later than it did on eneloop. And the regular H05 on a lithium lasts the longest, almost an hour longer than the H05S. So lithiums are the best way to run it if you want the longest run times. Or, just carry an extra set of batteries. Now the medium runtime, just on the eneloops. You get mostly constant light for most of the runtime on both lights. That's a good amount of usable light for close-up tasks or indoor tasks. The H05S lasts much longer than it does on high, like over 3 hours, and then starts dimming at about 5 hours and 15 minutes before it blinks, and shuts off at about 5 hours and 25 minutes, and the regular H05 runs about an hour longer at 6 hours and 15 minutes before dimming and shutting off at about 6 hours and 25 minutes in. Yep, you get longer run times on the H05 on all modes, because I guess they run a little bit lower. Okay, since 150 to 200 lumens doesn't show up super well outside in the dark with an f2.6 lens, I'll do it in my basement with a faster lens and try to level the playing field a little bit. I'll use headlamps that can also use AA batteries as well as higher voltage ones. Here are the headlamps I'll be using, and I'll throw in one ultra bright lithium ion light for good measure. I set them all to their highest output using an eneloop. Now these figures here may be a little different than the manufacturer specs because I'm testing them on AA batteries, and usually manufacturers rate them only on lithium ions. Okay, first is the H05. It has a large hotspot, so it's not as dispersed due to its optic. It's an XML2 based light though, like pretty much all of the headlamps you see here except for the big one. That's the same basic type of emitter, although the tints are different. Here is a slightly brighter on high H05S. Same basic optic though, and same basic emitter. Because it's brighter, the run times are shorter on the H05S, remember? Next is the Fenix HL50, which I reviewed several years ago now. It's a long time, man. I'll be using it on its highest mode and not burst mode, because burst mode requires you to hold down the button. Again, this light runs off of a single AA battery. Then back to the H05 for a second. And now here's the Armytek Tiara on high using the AA battery. It's the highest AA light rated here. As far as lumens go, you'll notice it's more dispersed than the other two. It's a brighter light and it's warmer in tint. Then back to the H05. And now the wrench in the machine, the Armytek Wizard version 3, which is about a 1500 lumen light. So this is just here for reference. Now back to the H05. For a second, okay, let's do this with the H05S. I know. I won't do the H05 in this section because you've already seen the two lights next to one another. Now the Fenix again. And back to the H05S for a few seconds. Boom. Now to the Tiara, which has a different kind of optic than the H05S that diffuses the light a little bit more. Finally, let's do the Wizard again, which might also be a line from an X-rated Lord of the Rings ripoff. Okay, what else? The light is waterproof to IPX4 standards, which is described in the IPX standard as, quote, resistant to a splash of water in any direction for at least 5 minutes. So yeah, don't use it for prolonged sessions in light rain. Seems like a reasonable, explanation of the rating. That seems to be also the rating for several similarly designed Black Diamond brand headlamps, like the Cosmo, the Gizmo, and the Revolt, which I think are Gremlins. But these sorts of headlamps seem to be the style that everyone buys at REI or Walmart or wherever, because they take AA and AAA batteries. People like plastic headlamps. This is a nice, lightweight camp headlamp or running headlamp with an adjustable angle. It has great long run times and good moderate brightness levels for people not into the on-steroid headlamps I usually review here. The addition of the low-level red mode is also great because red LEDs are said to preserve your night-adjusted eyes better than white light. If you don't need the remote on-off feature of the H05S and want longer run times, slightly less brightness on turbo, and want to save around $10, go with the H05 in one of the 4 colors. The H05S wave feature works well, but I wouldn't recommend it for very close work where things are close to your face and you're moving your head fast, because an object close to your face in combination with a quick turn of the head might turn off the light. You can always disable that feature though if you want the brighter highs. And the illuminated battery area and the slightly less bright red LED, although it's pretty dim. Anyway, if you like this review, check out all of my videos. Subscribe to my channel. Like my video, leave a comment, buy this at goinggear.com, and thanks for watching a 12-minute headlamp review.